Hey everyone, and welcome to the NintendoFuse podcast. This is episode 137, all about our E3 discussion. E3 2017 has been happening, just started today officially, but we've had some announcements and everything over the last few days. And here to discuss it with me is, unfortunately, Hassan is not here again, but we do have the regular crew of Greg. Hey Greg, how's it going?
Hey everyone.
And we also have Barry.
Hey guys.
So this NintendoFuse podcast is all about interaction. We want you to join in the podcast chat room. We have it open on YouTube live, so please join in. Tell us your thoughts about E3, and we'll read a lot of them on the air live right here on the podcast. And make sure you subscribed. If you're not subscribed to the podcast, you can do so on our YouTube channel. By all means, subscribe to us on YouTube, but you can also find us in Apple iTunes and things like that, so you get the audio version of this podcast. But make sure you share it out there. Leave a positive review. We would be very grateful for that. And if you are on YouTube, make sure you hit that little bell so you can be alerted to all our other videos. We do weekly videos and sometimes even more than that. So make sure that you do subscribe and hit that bell, because we want to alert you on what's going on. But before we jump into the details of E3 so far, I want to hear what you guys are thinking. Lots of stuff has been discussed already and uncovered and everything over these just last few hours, really 24 hours plus. A couple of them kind of jumped the gun this year. Even earlier, I think the earliest press conference was on Saturday or Sunday this year. Saturday. So we're getting an early start. How just your overall general thoughts about E3 this year? Greg, what are you thinking so far?
Well, as I was explaining to you before, I pretty much only really follow the Nintendo coverage. I just don't really have the time to follow everything else. So I was actually very, very impressed with what Nintendo came out with. I think I had my expectations lower because I was not expecting some of the things that they did, but obviously we'll get into that later.
Cool. Barry, what do you think so far?
Unlike Greg, I follow everything. So I've seen some people say it's been lackluster, some people say it's been great. Overall, I'm very happy. I think this E3 has exceeded my expectations across the board. There's been a lot of unique things that I did not expect, especially in the VR department. We've got, Far Cry 4 VR, Fallout 4 VR. We've got Elder Scrolls Online, Skyrim VR. Wow, it's really interesting to see. I think this was a make or break E3 for VR, so it was great to see that. No HoloLens from Microsoft. It's going to be interesting to see what they do there. No Switch VR. My Virtual Boy 2 dreams so far have not come true. So far. But it was just great to see, a lot of, unexpected things, like watching Bethesda and hearing them say the word Nintendo and having them have a Switch up there. What, am I dreaming? This is really crazy. A lot of things I would rather see more of, Assassin's Creed, I felt should have been on the Switch, especially because it showed off at Ubisoft right after they praised Nintendo. And here's Assassin's Creed, a franchise that has been on the Wii U, and the DS and the 3DS, and here it is not on the Switch. But overall, I'm very happy with the press conferences and the games they showed off. And 2017 already is jam-packed. There's just so many games across the board. And a lot of this stuff is 2018. So 2018 is looking great, too. So I'm happy, because 2016 was terrible for games.
It's true. Yeah. I think that's the biggest thing that I've taken away, too, is it's not a year for a lot of hardware, of course, but it is a year for a lot of games. I mean, a lot of companies are saying, you know what, our hardware has been out there. We're kind of letting it mature right now, and we're just going to start pumping out these AAA games. And we've started seeing them from everyone all across the board, both first party and third party. And like you said, 2017 is going to be great, and 2018 is looking pretty good so far as well.
To be fair, Microsoft did kind of show off some pretty serious hardware there.
That's true, but it wasn't anything completely brand new, like a brand new console. It was just the next iteration. It was a powerful iteration, but it wasn't like a brand new console that we've never seen before, sort of thing.
There were a couple other little things. There's the Atari console that's coming out that's going to upscale up to 1080 using HDMI with your old Atari cartridges. There's the new Sega Genesis Atware games or at games or whatever that they're throwing out for the hype. So there are a few pieces of hardware, but they're kind of more under the radar outside of the Xbox One X, which is the worst name ever. They seriously, Microsoft must have tagged the guys who said, "Hey, you named the Wii U, right? And the new 3DS. We want you to name our system."
If only they had named it the Xbox One U, that would have been just fantastic.
Well, the problem is they have the Xbox One S and the Xbox One X, and S and X sound so similar. There's going to be kids this Christmas. They're going to ask for an Xbox One X, and their grandparents are going to mishear that, and they're going to wind up with an Xbox One S, and they're going to be very upset. So, it's gonna happen.
All these little kids that already have their 4K TVs are going to be so upset.
No.
So let's jump in because there is a lot to cover tonight. We're trying to keep it under an hour. We'll see if that happens or not. If you have not watched the E3 Nintendo Spotlight for this year, we'll put a link later in the description. Don't go now if you're watching live. Stay right here. But if you're watching later, go watch the whole spotlight before you can come here, because it will help us, because we're not able to like throw content in front of us or anything like that. So if you're listening to audio, obviously you won't care anyhow, but it will help to know what we're talking about, because we just don't have time to go in all the details. But it was 25 minutes jam-packed with information from Nintendo, but also, like you said earlier, Ubisoft was talking about Nintendo Switch, and EA actually finally talked about Nintendo Switch as well. So before we go into our predictions that we talked about the last show, we'll revisit those at the end and see how we did. But before we do that, let's jump into all the news and everything that's been shared so far. We're going to start with that EA announcement of FIFA 18. That's right. They actually attached the number. I don't know how significant that is. It's still a separate build, but it was interesting to me because before it was just FIFA for Nintendo Switch, and now they actually have the 18 after it. Greg, are you a big FIFA fan at all?
Oh, not at all. The closest thing I've come to FIFA is Strikers, and even I didn't like Strikers a whole lot.
You didn't like Strikers? Oh, man.
Not a lot. I mean, I played it, but I wasn't very good at it.
Okay.
What about Mega Man Soccer? I mean, come on. Let's go classic here.
I don't know. Was that on Nintendo hardware? Because I don't know.
Super Nintendo. It was a Super Nintendo exclusive.
Even I thought that was weird as a kid. I was just like, "What? Mega Man not play soccer?" I know a lot of people love it, but I didn't even give it a chance because I thought it was weird.
I didn't even know that was a game.
It's legit. Check it out. It's fun.
So, Barry, are you a FIFA fan?
I am not a FIFA fan. Like you, I was happy to see the 18. It kind of reminded me back to the early N64 days when they made a big deal about Madden coming, and they actually called it Madden Football 64. It wasn't the year titled. It wasn't until the next year that it got a year. I'm happy to see it. I understand it's a special engine. I'm not a FIFA fan. I know there are a ton of people that are. It's a great win for Nintendo. I still think they need Madden. Again, I'm not a Madden fan. I'm not a real big football fan, but from a sales point, they need sports games. That is a huge demographic that they should try to capitalize on. And I felt like EA's press conference had a lot of games that could have been on the Switch. And I know they made a statement about the new Need for Speed, saying that the Switch could totally run it, but they have no plans to bring it. And to me, that seems like a missed opportunity. Like, the Switch is already selling like crazy. It's projected to sell a lot more. Get your games on there early. Then you complain that no one buys third-party games. Well, if you're not going to support it, then no. So get it out there early.
Right. So FIFA 18 is going to launch on the Nintendo Switch on September 29th. And it is interesting to note that online play will only be up to 4 players and not, I think, if I'm not mistaken, you can get up to 22. That might be wrong. Maybe at least 8 players, I think, on some other consoles. So, an interesting. It doesn't surprise me with Nintendo's online that they've limited to 4 players online. But it's kind of unfortunate that if you did have a ton of friends, and that's even local too. So, for instance, if you did have a bunch of people together with Nintendo Switches and you wanted to play FIFA, you could still only limit it to 4. I think local as well. So it's slightly. And I mean, I'm slightly bothered by it. There's not too many times I get an opportunity where I actually can play it with a ton of people at one time, but it would be nice to have that option.
The single player is missing too, which if it was one aspect that would be playing, it would be that single player, because it actually, the EA is starting to do those story-driven single players, which I'm very happy about. The League, I think it's called, or something like that. It's not there.
Yeah, it does have the Ultimate Team though, which is huge. I think that's one of the things that people talked about, like, will even have Ultimate Team, and that's a huge selling point for a lot of people because people really get into Ultimate Team. So that's going to be out on, like I said, September 29th. Then we go over to Ubisoft. Let's talk about Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle. This is one of the worst kept secrets for Ubisoft. We have been hearing so much about this game, and it's finally confirmed and going to be out. What do you guys think about this? It's going to be August 29th, so we don't have to wait very long. It's like a tactical sort of game with the Mario characters and the Rabbids dressed up as Mario characters. I'm not into these kind of games, but it does seem quirky enough that it might get me there. I'm not sure about it. Barry, what do you think?
You know what? I've been on the fence before I knew anything about this, just the thought of it. And I can see how it works because the Rabbids have that kind of quirky humor, and I can see them meshing. I'm still disappointed it wasn't Rayman and the rest of his characters. I think that would have been cooler, but there's always time for a sequel. It's really XCOM Mario and Rabbids Edition, and it looks like a blast. Again, like you, Steve, I don't play many tactical games in that vein, but I do. Something about it, the aesthetics, the charm, the humor, the quirkiness. It's such a draw. Like anytime I see the Mushroom Kingdom, I have a smile on my face. And then just to see the way the characters interact with each other, bouncing off each other, the combos you can do, it's just fun. It just looks fun. And I've seen a lot of reactions from different people, about this, and everyone's like, "Oh my god! Like I didn't know I wanted this game, but now I kind of do." And the one thing I do want to see after this, and I hope they make it happen, is Mario and Mega Man together in a kind of thing. Mario's got an arm cannon now. Let's just make it happen.
It's true. Greg, is this convinced you that you're gonna be picking up Mario and Rabbids?
I'm not sold, but I am definitely intrigued. That's a RPGs, like in the sense of Fire Emblem. I mean, I didn't really care for Codename Steam, but I'm definitely willing to give this one a shot. And I know usually the Mario games tend to be somewhat on the simpler side, so it seems like it should be right up my alley. So I'll probably look into trying to get a rental copy or something before just immediately buying it.
That's cool. Was it just me? Did Mario look weird being drawn by Ubisoft? It might have just been the stream that I was watching. I need to go back and watch it again, but it just looked like there wasn't as many pixels there. It kind of looked like old for some reason.
They said they did redraw it or something. I thought they were covering that on the stream, didn't they?
Yeah, they did, and which is which made me think maybe they did redraw it, and then I don't think they did as good of a job as Nintendo does.
Well, one selling point to me for the game, regardless of anything, what instills confidence is when they did the Ubisoft press conference and Miyamoto got up there with Bill, and he called to the director of the game who was in the audience and praised him and said he did such a good job and he did something we didn't see. And you saw the guy's face and he was crying. Like he had tears of joy. He was like, this was his moment. This was the moment he was born for. Like, and you can see that. And then in Treehouse, they were talking with him and he was talking about how he wanted to ask Miyamoto for his autograph and everything. He was such a huge fan. And you know what, when you have that passion, you make great games. So I know it's in good care, even though it's not a Nintendo in-house. It's by somebody who really cares about the Mario franchise. So to me, that alone, I'll definitely give it a chance for that.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yep. And Blake's in the chat. He says he's definitely loves the tactical RPG stuff. So sign him right up. He's going to be all over that. So yeah, I'm sure not too long you'll be hearing a lot more about Mario and Rabbids from us. But moving on, they also announced a long-awaited game, Just Dance 2018. Right? That's what we've all been waiting for. And yeah, anyone? All right, moving on.
Hold on. You have to point this out. Just Dance 2018 is the second game to cross 3 generations of Nintendo systems.
That is
The
true.
Wii, Wii U, and the Switch. The first being Just Dance 2017, which I thought was going to be an anomaly, but now apparently there's 2 of them. But I just think that's kind of neat. 3 generations of Nintendo systems, all the same game.
And now we have a game of the year for Wii competition on our hands, right? Did Cars come out for Wii, or is that just Wii U?
Wii U. Wii U.
Oh, so it's just that's it. Game of the year for the Wii. Just Dance 2018. So.
Yep.
Boom. Signed, sealed.
Heard it here, folks. First, folks.
Ubisoft also announced a Starlink Battle for Atlas that's also coming out to Switch and other platforms as well. And I tried to check it. It kind of seemed interesting. I didn't read anything about this game. From what I saw, and correct me if I'm wrong, guys, that I think it looks like a cross between Skylanders and some space battle sort of game. And like, it seems really cool to bring these really large toys to life sort of thing, and somehow brings it in there. They attach to the controllers themselves. What do you guys think? Greg, did you happen to pick up anything from the Starlink game, and what do you think about it?
No, I didn't even watch the conference, so I didn't even see any coverage on this yet.
Greg, you haven't done your homework.
What do you think about it, Barry? Did I describe it right, or
no?
Did
You described
anything
it right.
else? Okay.
It definitely seems interesting. I'm worried about the different toy parts, because if you need fire cannons, you take off the cannons and put on fire cannons on the ship, and you need ice, you take off the fire cannons and put the ice. And it happens. It looks really quick, like quick transfer, but I'm worried, will these pieces be lost? What happens if you lose your fire cannons and you need them for the game? Can you just buy fire cannons, or are you SOL? You have to write to Ubisoft and say, please send me more fire cannons, because they specifically show you need certain elements for different planets. It really depends on how much. If it's 1 ship or 2 ships and just a few weapons, and they're relatively cheap, I can see that being okay, as long as the game isn't priced at $60. If the game is priced at $30 or $40, and then you buy a $10 ship with parts, making it like a $50 game, I see that okay. If it's a $60 game and there's 100 ships to collect and 5,000 weapons to collect, and each of them are retail for $99.99, then this is a big problem. But pretty much the internet and myself have dubbed this game No Man's Skylanders, and that's all we're calling it. Because it's a cross between No Man's Sky and Skylanders.
That's pretty much it, yeah. And it is interesting that they would start some new Toys to Life sort of thing in the middle of when some other companies are kind of falling to the wayside. But Skylanders has always kind of kept the ball rolling. So
except this year, no new Skylanders outside of the Switch port earlier this year, but no new Skylanders. I think Skylanders is probably done. Disney Infinity is done. Lego Dimensions is still going on. And obviously Amiibo.
Amiibo are going strong. We'll talk about those a little later, but Amiibo are definitely going strong for sure. Ubisoft also showed off Beyond Good and Evil 2, which I've got to say 2 things about Beyond Good and Evil 2. One, I was never into Beyond Good and Evil 1. However, the trailer that we saw for 2, it looked fantastic. And number 2, they really like the F-bomb. And number 3, did you guys see anything about the Switch on this? Because apparently it's been long rumored that it was supposed to come to a Nintendo system, and they didn't say anything about it. What do you guys think? Or is that pretty much, is it gone, or is there still hope for us to see Beyond Good and Evil 2 on Nintendo Switch?
I don't think so. I mean, unless they're going to do something like Bayonetta and bring over the first one, but I'm probably not thinking so.
Well, why would they have to bring over the first one? If you remember, Beyond Good and Evil was on the GameCube, just like it was on the Xbox and the PS2. So, I mean, technically it started off on a Nintendo system of that generation. It didn't get the remaster version that was download on Xbox Live Arcade and PSN, but it still started off on a Nintendo system.
Yeah, but I'm also looking at it more from a fresh point. I mean, obviously, there are people that have played the first one on GameCube. I didn't. So it would be cool to get a package that have both of them. If there's like a code for the digital download for...
Well, here's the thing. It's called Beyond Good and Evil 2, but it might as well be called Beyond Good and Evil 0. It is a prequel. And the first one ends on a cliffhanger. So you will not find out what happens 15 years later after that game. We still don't know what's going to happen.
We're still left in the dark about what's going on.
But it is actually a prequel, so you don't actually need to play the first one, although you should, because it is a truly phenomenal game. But yeah, as for Switch, I would love it. It would fit outside of maybe the F-bombs, but I don't see it. Those are pretty graphic intensive, and not saying the Switch isn't a powerful system, but it almost seemed like they were pushing for PS4 Pro, Xbox One X capabilities with those graphics. Like, but also it was FMV. None of it was actual gameplay. So again, we don't know. But
right.
you know what? They didn't say anything about this. I don't know if you guys have heard of this. It's bugging me. If you remember back in January when they showed off all those games coming to Switch, one of them was an Ubisoft title, and it was Steep. And Steep was shown off at Ubisoft's conference with a new DLC. No mention of Nintendo. This game came out last year. Is this dead? Is Steep on the Switch dead? Or do you think we're going to surprise announcement this holiday built in with this Olympic pack? Because I felt that would have been the time to announce it.
It is still, as of like last week, it's still listed on their press site for Switch. And I've contacted them about a press copy at some point. So I have not heard that they've canceled it. I was surprised as well with new DLC pack and everything for the Olympics. I was thinking, well, this is the time they're going to say, okay, and it's going to be launching with this DLC pack or the Switch this holiday. But no word. That kind of shocked me as well. I don't know. We'll see, I guess. Yeah. But moving on to Nintendo this morning, they had a 25-minute jam-packed Nintendo Spotlight where they announced several different things, and the announcements kept on going into the Treehouse Live, which I thought was really cool as well. They didn't really cover a whole lot of games, but in 25 minutes, they really packed a lot in there. And they started off with one of Barry's favorites, Xenoblade Chronicles 2. And that is going to be coming not too long. It's going to be in the holiday season this year, so we don't have to wait too much longer for it. Barry, talk about Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Are you still as stoked now that you've actually seen some hands-on, or not actually hands-on, but other people's hands-on time with the game? Yeah.
Yeah, I watched the Treehouse. I'm more stoked. I'm more stoked because they streamlined the combat. They have one thing that the trailer didn't show is party members in your party, but they do have party members back. They have different blades, each with a different person. Each blade has like 3 different skills. Instead of being mapped to like a bar on the bottom where you have to go left and right to choose what skill you want, it's all done with the face buttons. So A, B, X, Y, and then you switch. It looked like you switch between swords with the D-pad. So it definitely looks streamlined. I love the graphics. I love the aesthetics. I love the fact that we're back on giant beasts again like we were. I love the fact that there's multiple. The thing that I would love to see is, where is this world? I mean, the first world with Xenoblade Chronicles was unique because it had 2 giant beasts. Like, oh, okay, this is cool. They're locked in battle. They've been dead for years, supposedly. And now we have another planet with more giant beasts. Like, is this the same planet down the road? Is these new beasts? Like, there's so many answers. And I was expecting at the end of that trailer for, like, the new character, I forget his name now, but I expected him to fall and then, like, a hand to reach. Like, you need a hand, and it'd be, like, Shulk or Rhine or, like, somebody. Like, please make this connect. Because that was the one thing I missed about Xenoblade Chronicles X, is the connection to the first game. And I understood it was an offshoot. That's why it was called X. But this is called 2. Like, obviously they're going the Final Fantasy route where they're going to separate it. But I still want to see some kind of crossover. But it's amazing. Like day one, hopefully this holiday, hope it's not pushed. And at the same time, I kind of want it to be pushed so I don't have to – I can give a nice Game of the Year 2018 to that and not have to worry about 2017's big battle royale.
Greg, do you think have similar thoughts to Barry about Xenoblade Chronicles 2?
No, I think he took all the excitement away for it.
Aww.
I didn't really like the first one stemming from Wii, so I didn't get X. And
you didn't like the combat though, right?
Yeah, it's all about the combat.
Well, the combat's changed. Like I said, it's more streamlined now. If you haven't watched the Treehouse, watch the Treehouse. They specifically talk about the combat.
Yep, I will see, but it still looks like the Monster Hunter combat. They just made maybe some of the button presses a little bit easier.
It is. I am excited for the streamlined combat as well. I thought the graphical changes they made were interesting in the beginning. I was like kind of thrown off by it. I was like, is this really Xenoblade? But then after I started watching on it, and they kind of started melding together, and I was like, I really like this. But I was taken back a little bit in the very beginning when I first saw it. It was like, because it was different, especially than X. So, but I think it's cool that they're going back to the story-driven stuff, because X wasn't as story-driven, and Xenoblade Chronicles definitely was, and 2 seems to be very story-driven, and that's why they went back to that as well. They went with 2 instead of X2 or whatever.
Yeah. Well, one thing a lot of people are like, oh, is it going to come out this year? Is it going to come out this year? And I think a lot of people think that this started after X was done, and it wasn't. It was started beforehand. They actually used the X's engine for the exploration, and they just kind of added to it. So it's very real that this will come out this holiday. I think it'll be a big push for Nintendo. I just hope it's not overshadowed.
Yeah, it could be overshadowed because there are some big games this year. Like we talked about, I think in the last podcast or 2 podcasts ago. I mean, there's so much that's coming out this year, and they just keep adding into it.
Well, you know what it reminds me? Do you remember the Wii U? I think it was maybe the first or second year that the Wii U was out. They pitched like, oh, after this period of time, there's going to be a new release every single month. And that's when Hyrule Warriors came out, and Donkey Kong Country was supposed to be December, got pushed. Mario 3D World came out that year. Like, I think Pikmin 3 was part of that. Like, every single month is a new thing. Captain Toad was, I believe, part of that too. Like, this is what it's like. We've got a game every month, starting with ARMS this holiday, or this Friday with Holiday ARMS. We got Splatoon next month. We got, Mario and Rabbids the month after that. We've got Pokken Tournament. We've got Mario. We've got Xenoblade Chronicles. We've got other stuff that we're going to talk about. Like, there's so much.
Yeah, and I remember that was the time that I started falling behind on Wii U games that I still haven't finished, because there were so many that came out, and I loved them all, but I just didn't have enough time. So like Mike's saying in the chat, too many games, and not enough dollars in my wallet either. So let's move on. They talked about a new Kirby that's coming out for Nintendo Switch in 2018. I can't remember. I think I remember Barry. Barry, you're a pretty big Kirby fan, is that right?
Absolutely.
And Greg, are you a Kirby fan?
Well, I haven't really experienced a lot of them. The ones that I have played, I thought were pretty neat. I just haven't really dove into the series hardcore. Like, I've played like the one on the original Game Boy. I have like the NES version on Virtual Console. I've like seen other ones. I just never really bothered to like dive deep into the series.
Yeah. So this one looks interesting. It looks a whole like there's 4-player, and it looks a lot like Super Smash Brothers. Just looks like Kirby put in there, and that's it, which is cool. Like, I've never really been too into Kirby, but the world looks great, and I'm sure it's going to be a lot of fun. But we don't really know a whole lot about it. But it is supposed to come out in 2018.
Well, see, what's interesting about Kirby is it's kind of a mashup of a bunch of games. Like, it's Return to Dreamland for the Wii with the 4 players, but instead of having, King Dedede, Meta Knight, and a random Waddle Dee, it seems it's going to go the Superstar route from the Super Nintendo, where other players can play as the enemies, which is cool. And then they're taking the mixing mechanic of Kirby 64 and allowing you to mix abilities again. So it's like Kirby All-Stars kind of deal.
Yeah, it kind of does seem like that.
Great.
So that'd be interesting. And then all of a sudden they throw in a little news that from Pokemon, and we're like, yeah, Pokemon tournament. We heard about that last week, and all of a sudden Pokemon RPG for Switch, and we're like, what? I was shocked, because I think a lot of people were thinking, especially after last week, with Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon coming out 3DS, they're like, you know what? Like, we're probably not going to happen. We're probably not going to get the Pokemon on Switch. And all of a sudden, we hear that it's in development, and it's at least a year away, but it is in development. And so Pokemon is officially coming to Switch. Greg, do you think this is a good move?
I definitely think so. I know of some people that are definitely waiting for Pokemon, and what better way to get even more, make the Switches even more extinct, is to throw Pokemon on it.
That's true. Yeah. Barry, you gonna be picking up Pokemon for Switch?
It's a no-brainer. I think myself and the majority of people who grew up with red, blue, green, and white, or yellow, we wanted that on the N64. We wanted Ocarina of Time, but Pokemon, and then we got Pokemon Stadium, which was half of what we wanted. But yeah, it's a no-brainer. The thing that interests me the most, and I haven't seen a lot of people talk about this, so I'm going to pose this to you guys. Game Freak has specifically stated that they do not want to bring a mainline Pokemon to a home console because they feel it is mainly for portables, and they've kept true since the beginning. Now we have a mainline going to the Switch, which, yes, can be played portably, but is this a sign that there will not be a follow-up to the 3DS and Nintendo will just stick with the Switch from here on out until whatever comes next?
That is a great question. I don't know, because it probably almost seems like, I mean, now that there is that connection with the president of Nintendo, a Pokemon company, being the president of Nintendo and everything, and I'm sure, obviously there's gonna be conversations going on behind the scenes and all that stuff, and so, like, I know they know what the long-term plan is for the Switch, and I think if the eventual plan is to let 3DS die out and let Switch be the both systems at the same time, maybe they'll kind of rethink that, because the portable is the home console and the home console is the portable, and so maybe that's not an issue anymore. I don't know.
Or there's going to be a new one that's going to be an Xbox One X 4K machine from Nintendo as a home console only, and the Switch becomes the portable line.
That's true. You don't know.
Yeah, I remember hearing like some like rumors that like the next like handheld system is like kind of being worked on. So, but I don't know if there's any truth to that.
That's true. Yeah,
remember the Atlas? Good old Atlas. Mantis or whatever it was. 32-bit one.
So Pokemon just stuck it in there, and we're like, oh, well, that's interesting. And then they say, we're going to be focusing on games that are going to be out in 2017. And before you know it, this 4 comes on the screen, and I'm like, what is that? And before you know it, Metroid Prime 4 has been announced in development for the Nintendo Switch. Greg, is this the dream you've been dreaming about for so long? You've been thinking about it. You predicted it is going to happen. Are you as excited as you thought you would be?
Oh, I was so excited. I saw like the little lightning bolt symbol like starting to form, and I was like shouting and screaming. I was like, oh my God, here's Metroid, here it comes. And it's like, 4? Oh, geez, what's going on? I can't believe it. I like totally predicted that in our last podcast.
Very.
And then I was like, is it still going to make 2017? Like, because it followed that announcement too.
Right.
So,
yeah.
Like, when?
That's true. We have no idea when it's going to be, but Barry, I'm assuming this is a day one purchase for you, right? You probably already looking on Amazon to see if you can pre-order it already, haven't you?
Yeah, I have already. Yes, of course. I do want to say though that Mike was talking in the chat about my excitement for Xenoblade, and it was enough excitement. Greg just stole the show. All right, Greg just reversed puberty there. His excitement. All right, that trumps anything that I've done. But no, of course, I mean, Metroid Prime 4 is a no-brainer. And my hope is that everybody who's been complaining and whining and just where's Metroid, buy this game. Like, show Nintendo, buy this game, and therefore we'll get more, because that's what it takes. Sales speaks volumes. So if this goes out there and it sells 200,000 units, Metroid's going back in the closet. If this goes out there and sells 3 million units, we're going to see Metroid Prime 5 much sooner. So I hope so. But the interesting thing, and this wasn't shown, but it was revealed after, is this is not Retro.
Right.
This is made by another team. So where's Retro?
They're still gone. Do you think that multiplayer will return like it was there in Metroid Prime 2?
Absolutely.
The
Switch is all about multiplayer right now, like pick up and go.
Yeah. I definitely agree. I mean, it would be a huge missed opportunity if it's not. Especially how they're pushing like the couch multiplayer and everything. I mean, it has to be. They already have like the Echoes layout. I mean, they just needed to up it a little bit and balanced.
Blake says in the chat that his wife texted me. He's like, "You're screaming right now, aren't you?" And he's like, "Yes. Could you hear me?" I'm sure. Like if you search on YouTube, you're gonna find so many reaction videos about people just going crazy about this announcement. And all it was a logo. That's pretty much all it was, and it got all of us really excited. And we have no idea when it's going to come out. We don't know anything other than it's in development for the Switch, and it's not Retro doing it. We do know the company. I forgot it right off the top of my head, but I tweeted about it earlier. You guys remember who it was at all?
I don't remember.
No,
It's like a newly formed team, from what I heard. But either way, okay, this is okay. So I don't know, but it's gonna be exciting for sure. And if they push it back far enough, I could have enough time to play through 1, 2, and 3 again. So
we'll see. What's interesting about this, if you remember when Metroid Prime came out, Retro was a new studio. They entrusted it to a brand new studio, so they still have Retro under their belt. This is probably a new studio. Maybe they're giving this to them as a test, and if they do well, they'll buy them, and then we'll get a new second party that's capable of just doing these great type of games. So here's hoping history repeats itself.
That's true. Nintendo has always been really good with bringing on quality second parties. So, I mean, we'll see what happens. So that was exciting. That they could have probably just ended it right there, dropped the mic, and walked off. But they followed it up with Yoshi, a new Yoshi game for Switch is going to be coming in 2018 as well. It's a side-scrolling game similar to the Yoshi stories, Yoshi games, and everything. But we not Woolly World this time, but it's a very cool looking side scroller, and there is some interaction between the forward and the backwards, like kind of like the background, it seems like, and so there's some 3D-esque kind of feeling to it, but there's like full range motion. 2 players, I think, co-op as well, so it looks pretty exciting. Greg, are you a Yoshi fan?
Yeah, Yoshi's like one of my favorite Nintendo characters. I really loved Yoshi's Woolly World. Wish I would have finished it. I did like the Yoshi's New Island games. Those were a lot of fun. To me, this reminded me more like a Paper Yoshi. I was getting a sense when I was looking at the directions in the art, it kind of reminded me like, oh, Paper Yoshi? And then I was just like, no, just Yoshi. And I was like, well, I don't know. The visuals to me kind of remind me a lot of like the Paper Mario Color Splash.
Yeah, it was very crisp. I mean, the game popped off the screen, so it was like if they're figuring out how to make 1080p look really good, and all the Yoshi games have always, I think, really took the graphics to the next level, which they don't have to, but they do, and I've always appreciated that about them. Barry, are you excited about Yoshi coming to Switch?
Yep, I am. My wife is. We're probably gonna do that 2-player. But yeah, I agree with you, Greg. Definitely the paper aesthetic. In fact, I got a very Super Paper Mario vibe. If you've ever played that, because that had multiple perspectives too.
Yeah.
So it felt almost like that type of mechanic, which I really enjoyed in that game. So yeah, I'm excited. Especially no baby Mario again on the back. That's great to see. No more crying.
Right. It's pretty much the only bad thing about that game is the crying Mario. So I know Greg's excited about this next one because it's more Fire Emblem, and anytime Fire Emblem comes out, Greg is excited. Fire Emblem Warriors. Are you pumped that the Warriors is crossing over with Fire Emblem, and now to actually see it in person and be able to see what it's all about? Are you going to be picking this right off the bat, Greg?
Oh, guaranteed. This is definitely a day one purchase written all over it. As I said earlier, I really love the Fire Emblem series. It's cool to see Marth and Chrom, Xander, and all these other awesome characters across the latest different games and series and all come together just like the Hyrule Warriors game. So I really like some of the new additions, like you can like send units to like kind of like the battles like you do like in the 3DS where you can just tell them like, oh, occupy this fort and control it, don't let the enemy take it. And I like the tactics element being brought into it. I think that will work really well.
Cool. Barry, it's launching this fall. Have you already got it pre-ordered?
Actually, I've had this pre-ordered since the January event when it was revealed.
Yeah.
But it's probably going to be one of those games I don't play for a while, simply because Hyrule Warriors absorbed me so much, and I still never finished it completely because that game just kept getting bigger. and especially with Legends. It's just such a great thing, and I don't know if I could do that right now with all these games and Fire Emblem. You know what it is. It's every character has their own level, so like you try to maximize every guy's level, and it's like, oh, like with Hyrule Warriors, like the cap is 99, and then just as you start getting closer, oh, the cap's 150, and now it's 250, and it's like, nope, done, like too much work, you know. So in terms of that, like, it looks great. It looks absolutely great. I'll probably play it and at least go through the story mode to experience the story. I don't know if you'll include like an adventure mode like Hyrule Warriors did. I probably won't go that in depth where, you know, I'm trying to get every single item and every single costume and every single weapon. But yeah, I'm really happy that they're doing it. Interesting, no mention, even in the treehouse, no mention of the new 3DS version at all. So I'm wondering what's happening with that, if that's even coming out still, or are they just being mum's the word on it?
Yeah, I don't know. I probably won't be getting this one because I'm just not in the Fire Emblem, especially nearly as much as Greg is. But I'm sure it's going to be great and everything. I loved Hyrule Warriors. And it's one of those games that I always think, I should probably go back and finish that game. And I'm like, oh, wait, I did. Because I'm just so
Did you
used to
finish
not
the story?
finishing games. I did. Yeah.
See, I finished the story. I was talking all the adventure mode map packs that kept coming out.
Yeah, I tried, and that's when I realized I'm not nearly as good as I need to be. But but the thing that always gets me at those Warriors games is when they show them off at E3 or anything like that, they always put it like so low of difficulty that I remember when I first saw Hyrule Warriors, I'm like, this game looks so incredibly easy. And then I got my hands on it and I was like, oh, it's not that easy. But when they show it off, they have like super easy enemies. And there's like walking through just kind of casually waving around their sword, just knocking people out because they're just like, oh, am I supposed to fight? So I always...
they're also talking while doing it, and it's hard to talk in the other game.
Yeah.
Cut them some slack. I mean, come on, Steve.
No, I just think it's funny because other games they'll be like dying and jumping off stuff, but like they make sure that in the Warriors games they're like, we're gonna knock the difficulty down while we're talking to make it look good. So
only hardcore for Steve, like insane difficulty.
Show me how good you are in this game.
Lunatic mode for Steve, normal for everybody else.
Yep. You hear it, Nintendo. Every game you send Steve, lock it into lunatic mode. That's what he wants.
So Fire Emblem Warriors is going to also have Amiibo coming out, which we'll talk more about Amiibo later. We'll just put that to the side, but just know there's more Fire Emblem Amiibo coming out. Then we got into Zelda. We started talking about Zelda, and we find out, I think we knew from some other Bethesda and everything telling us that there's going to be Zelda or a Link costume and the Master Sword coming to Skyrim for Switch. And then we got into the Zelda DLC talk. The first pack's going to be coming on June 30th, and the second pack in holiday time. Barry, are you excited about anything Zelda that was announced today, from the Skyrim stuff to the DLC? What excites you more, and which are you going to be picking up, both, or is one thing kind of outweigh the other?
I can't believe you even ask me if something Zelda excites me. Like, who are you and what have you done with me?
Okay, so let me clarify. Does Zelda and Skyrim excite you? Because Zelda would be exciting, but does Zelda and Skyrim excite you, I guess?
Well, as for the DLC packs, I already have the season pass, so of course I'm going to be getting them because I've already got them, kind of. I don't like the trial of the sword. I'm definitely going to do. I don't know if I'll do like the harder mode. Maybe I'll use the Korok mask to run around and collect a few more Korok seeds just to mess with it. Got to get the new costumes, especially from the Amiibo. Not upgrading them if they take star fragments. That's the worst system ever. Screw that. DLC Pack 2 looks really exciting. It appears to be maybe a prequel where you can play as the champions. I was talking to a friend of mine. I said maybe the Amiibo will allow you to play the champions in the main game. And he told me I was crazy, but who knows? As for Skyrim, Skyrim is a weird place because it's a game that came out, 2011. I played it. I didn't beat it, but must have put like 40 hours into it. It's a great game. So I was like, well, maybe I'll revisit it on the Switch because, now it's portable and all that stuff. And then with the Zelda stuff, I'm like, oh, this is great. Like, oh my God, watching Bethesda's thing. And I'm like, oh man, now I think I might have to do this. And then of course, we watched Sony's press, and they're like, "Oh, here's Skyrim, but in VR." So now I'm like, Skyrim is coming back twice with 2 versions. One has my favorite character costume of all time in there, and the other one is like my childhood dream of walking around a world, virtual reality and just having an adventure. I don't know which version to play, but I don't want to replay it twice.
And now you can get Link can get an arrow to the knee, or you can get an arrow to the knee in VR. So
True.
Either way.
Then I could say I once was an adventurer.
Barry Greg, is this as exciting to you as it is to Barry?
Actually, it very is. I've really Skyrim was the one game that really pushed me to like almost get a PS3 or an Xbox 360. I was like very, very close. And then it just came down to it as like, it's one game for a system. I'll pass. I've learned it was coming on the PC, got it there. It kind of destroyed my PC, so I couldn't quite finish it. I'm really excited to be able to play it on a Nintendo console, to be honest. And plus with Zelda, it's definitely no brainer. I'm a huge Legend of Zelda fan as well.
Yeah, I think I would be excited about it, but I know that it comes back to that thing that we've talked about so many times this time, and I think it's probably a game that I really would enjoy. But when I look at everything else, I look at the Zelda DLC, and I know I'm gonna be playing all that, and I look at Mario Odyssey, where we're talking about in just a bit, and how big that game looks, and I look at Xenoblade Chronicles 2, and I look at all these other games, I'm like, man, I think it'd probably be one of those games that I'm going to appreciate from afar. I think it's cool that they brought Zelda into it, but I think I'm more excited about the DLC for Breath of the Wild than I am for Skyrim, for sure.
Now, here's an interesting thing. Apparently, the rumor is that Nintendo is actually publishing it. And that's a good and a bad thing. I mean, it's good because it's like Nintendo's like, here, bring us your games. We're willing to publish it for you. But it's also bad because it's like, hey, the only way you're bringing your game to our system is if we front the money for it. So I don't know about that.
That's true. Yeah.
I don't know if you guys caught it, but they had previously said it was going to be available in the fall, but then now I'm seeing it's going to be available in the holidays. So it looks like it already had like a small delay already too. So
be a jam-packed holiday.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Jam-packed fall too.
It's a jam-packed 2017.
Hey, remember what I was talking about a couple podcasts ago about that soft launch? This is looking more and more like a real launch coming this holiday.
It's true. It's true. All right. Well, let's step into let's see what else was covered here. Mario and Rabbids again. They talked about it saying coming on August 29th. We already heard about it from Ubisoft, but they talked about it a little more. And then they did something that I caught a glimpse of in the very beginning. And you know what? I was excited for Metroid Prime 4, but honestly, just personally, this thing made me the most excited, and that's because Rocket League is officially coming to the Nintendo Switch. One of my favorite games as of late, and I'm so excited to be able to take that on the go, to be able to play each other local and go online, and yes, I will be buying it for the 3rd time. So are you guys big Rocket League fans? And if so, are you excited for it to finally be officially coming to the Nintendo Switch this holiday? Greg, what do you think?
Well, I never played the series. I don't know. Yeah, it was like Steve stole the excitement, so I was like, I don't know if I should follow him. But it looks kind of weird because you're like driving cars and you're playing soccer, but I don't know.
Exactly. My wife's actually told me before. She's like, "This is like the combination of your favorite things. It's like racing cars and playing soccer." I was like, "Yes," and now I can take it on the go. This is fantastic. Yeah.
I mean, when I first saw it, I thought it was like that Metroid weird spin-off game.
Basketball.
Yeah, the blast ball thing. I was like, what the heck?
It.
It's like, what's going on here? Do they transform the cars now and they can? But I was like, no, this is like a series. Like, no, I don't know too much about it. I will want to learn more about it, and might end up could be like a last-minute purchase depending on what's else is coming around. So.
Barry, you a big Rocket League fan?
Don't shoot me, Greg, but I also have not played Rocket League. Although before you hurt me, I do own.
Now it's time. Now it's time for me to start making assignments. And here's the thing: Rocket League is going to take you a whole lot less time than Xenoblade or Fire Emblem.
Hold on. I do actually own the physical PS4 version and the physical Xbox One version because I wanted to support it because I know you really like that game. So I wanted to support it and show my love, but I have yet to pop either of those in and play. Maybe the Switch version will change my mind. It's not that I don't think the game looks great, because I think the game looks great. It's just there's too many games. I mean, I'm still playing games from last year and trying to get through those, and it doesn't help that Stormblood is launching this Friday, so that's going to absorb all my time and my wife's time for a long period of time because MMOs do that. So yep. I'm trying.
Oh, it's okay.
Is there a version of it on a Nintendo console? Or is this the first appearance? Is there a version of Rocket League on a Nintendo console?
This is it. Yeah, this is the first time. So, and I think it really does fit the Switch so well, because it is one of those games you can pick up and play for a couple of rounds, and then you put it down, similar to like Mario Kart or some of those other games where you can pick it up and put it down, pick it up and put it down, and that's going to be really cool. I think, especially in social settings with other people that have a Switch and want to play with you. It's going to be. I'm really excited about that. So.
I guess now we're gonna have to play it.
Definitely. There's gonna be some NintendoFuse Rocket League tournaments for sure.
Steve's gonna crush us.
Oh yeah.
Hey, yeah. Hassan plays too. Hassan's a big fan of it too. So it'd be me and Hassan versus you two, right? That's fair.
That's totally fair.
Yeah, totally. So Nintendo ended it all off with their Nintendo Spotlight with Super Mario Odyssey, which is coming out this holiday season. Is that in November? Am I getting that right?
October 27th.
October. It's almost here. So yeah, I know it's June, but October is almost here, and I am so excited about this game. The more I see about it, the more I am so excited. It is huge for a Mario game. There's so much in this, and I think it's really cool that you can use coins now to buy things. They actually mean something finally in a Mario game. They have changed some things up because now you don't have lives. You like lose coins when you die, similar to like a Shovel Knight or something like that, or other type games like that. But seems like a huge open world sort of thing. Not fully open world, but more open world for Mario. Similar to Mario 64 and definitely expanded from that for sure. And there's a lot that they covered about this game. We don't have the time to go into it, but Barry, are you excited? That's a stupid question. How excited are you? That's what I want to know.
I peed my pants. I mean it's just amazing. I mean, like when the trailer first started, I was like, this is probably Mario. This is the end. I don't want it to be the end. I want another game, but I know they're going to end on Mario. And then the T-Rex appeared. I'm like, this is Mario. Like something told me this is Mario. Like this is totally a red herring. Like this is not Jurassic Park Switch. This is not Turok Dinosaur Hunter Switch. Like this is Mario. And then when the hat, I'm like, yeah, there we go. But it exceeds my expectation. The whole capture mechanic and transform mechanic, totally out of left field. I love it. Not only the fact that you could do it, but you use it to solve puzzles. Like there was that one early screenshot we had, or it wasn't a screenshot, but it was in that Switch reveal trailer, that third, the 3-minute thing where Karen, I think the internet named her, where she's playing Mario and she picks it up and you see that like rings over the air and people are like, is this Sonic? How are we going to get that? And they showed it in the treehouse. They showed that you capture a bullet bill and you fly through those rings. I'm like, oh, that's cool. That's like using this smartly as mechanic. It just looks phenomenal. What else can I say? It's Mario platforming. It's open world. It's everything I wanted. The lives thing didn't bother me at all. Although what I'm really happy about is that there's 2 different kinds of coins, one for the world and one regular. And I noticed like in the treehouse when they were collecting the world coin, it was out of 100. So it seems like there's going to be a moon, which is this game's star or shine. You had to collect 100 of them, but I was like, please don't tell me you die, and then you had to find where those 10 random coins went back to. Like, no. But it's also interesting that they went to the moon mechanic, because a lot of people never saw that moon or don't remember that moon. And I don't know if you guys remember the moon, but it was, I think, only used in Super Mario World as a 3-up.
Okay.
Yeah.
It looked familiar, but I couldn't remember what it was from.
Yeah, it was a 3-up in Mario World. It was like there was maybe 5 in the whole game, and it's like so interesting to see them call back to that. But I'm glad it's not stars again. Like it's something new.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. They I noticed this, and maybe I just one of those random things I noticed when they played the song over and over in the Treehouse Live, and it kept talking about I'll be your one-up girl. I was like, I don't think there's one-ups in this game. I think they meant to rewrite that line. But dinosaurs in this game, Greg, are you excited that they finally decided to cross over the Super Mario Brothers movie with the actual Mario video game?
Yeah, that's pretty hysterical. I was like, I saw a couple of comments just flying by, and everyone's like, "Oh my God, it's Turok! Oh my God!" And I was like, I had to touch on that. I was like, I don't think it's Turok, and then all of a sudden it was like, boom! Oh yeah, Mario Head thing, or there it is. But that is a very interesting mechanic. I mean, Flood was a huge part of Sunshine. So was like the different caps and stuff. I'm excited to see them kind of go back to a different cap mechanic. It seems like it'd be really cool to take control of all sorts of different things, rockets, enemies, whatever. And then, I don't know, it just looks phenomenal. I just can't wait to play it. It's just so cool.
Yeah, I think, go ahead.
I was going to say one thing that I really love about it. It's there's a lot of references. There's a lot of Mario history. Like we were just talking about the moons, which is part of Mario history. Like during the Treehouse, they were doing New Donk City, and the mayor is Mayor Pauline, and there's construction girders, and then obviously the streets are Cranky and Dixie and all that. That we already knew from the early thing. But it's like the history of Donkey Kong mashed up. Will Donkey Kong himself make an appearance? Like I just love that there's all these references to the previous games and the history of Mario, and I hope that continues in the other worlds we have yet to see.
Yeah, I think that's something that I've always noticed. Like I enjoyed the recent Mario games, but I really enjoyed Mario Galaxy 1 too. And I always thought, how can they top that? Well, I figured out how they can top that. They released Mario Odyssey, and it just keeps getting better and better and better. And they played it a lot in Treehouse Live, and every time I was glued to the screen, like trying to, okay, what are they going to show now? And it's so much more. And they probably spent, I don't know, an hour or so, and probably showed just a small bit of the game, maybe 2 hours. I don't know. I can't remember. I lost track of time because I was just so enthralled with what they were showing about this game.
What about the exploration fact where they showed like, hey, look, there's nothing over here. It's like the end of the world. And then they fell off and boom, they're in another part of the world that you can only get that way. It's like, whoa.
I totally thought, like, I was like, why did she just fall? Oh, I see what they're doing. Like, and the fact that that has to happen for you to find some places is just ridiculous, because that means I'm going to be falling off the ledge every once in a while and just to see what happens. And there go my coins.
That's why actually when I stopped watching, I'm like, all right, I don't want any more spoilers. Let me find this stuff myself.
Yeah.
I must have been aware that during that part of the segment, because I don't recall
It was the second segment when they were doing the juggle level.
Okay, I'd probably missed some of that one. I had some other obligations to attend to this afternoon.
Yeah, I think it's really cool. And my wife was home at the time, and I think it's going to be also one of those games. I mean, she was really drawn in when I played Zelda, and just kind of watching along. We talked about this in my previous podcast, just wondering what the story is all about and everything. And she was sitting down and watching this with me, and she thought it was just adorable, which it is, especially Mario's little animations when he's cold and he's like dancing along and everything. I thought it was cheesy the first time I saw it, and then I saw it in game, and I go, no, that's really fun, and that's really cool. So I'm glad that they just
2D mechanics.
That's incredible.
Awesome.
Like, as I was live tweeting this whole thing, I was like, I don't even know how to describe what I'm seeing right now, but it's really cool. It kind of brings the whole like Link Between Worlds from Zelda and into Mario, and just mashes the two together in HD and looks really cool. So.
Yep. That was so cool.
I got a lot of Mario RPG vibes for the one room in Booster's Tower.
Cool. So hey, Hessen's in the chat. So
do you think they'll have like a Legend of Zelda world? Because they talked about all these different worlds. Because I almost see because they've always had like ideas for Mario, ideas for Zelda, and
no. I think they're going to stay in the Mario universe. Like Donkey Kong is part of Mario, so that's why he was there. I do not think it's going to be like Mario going into Nintendo All-Star World and go to a Kirby world and Zelda world. Although that would be amazing for the sequel, like Mario and Samus teaming up to fight Mother Brain. Like, make it happen.
Subspace Emissary too.
I was more thinking also Animal Crossing would probably have been a good fit for it, but
yeah, I would want to find Mr. Rossetti, give him a piece of my mind.
Yeah, I was thinking Tom Nook should jump on his head.
Oh, him too.
take control of him,
charging me,
and run him off a cliff.
Yeah, it's true. You can control him. That it's like this possessed hat thing, and you just like going. So Cappy, yeah, I think it's so exciting. We honestly probably could dedicate an entire podcast. I'm sure we will have an entire game chat about this game when it finally comes out. In October, we'll be here before we know it, and we'll all be playing it. And you won't hear from us for a couple weeks while we play it, and then we'll come back and we'll do a game chat all about it, and then talk for like 3 hours. So, so they followed Mario Odyssey up at the Treehouse Live with a special announcement. Not only are we have news about one Metroid game in development, we've actually got a second one coming along. Metroid Samus Returns is coming even sooner than Super Mario Odyssey, because it's going to be here on September 15th. And yet again, more amiibo with it, but it is a remake of Metroid 2 for the Game Boy. And let me just say, it looks fantastic. And I am really excited about this game. And I'm definitely going to have to charge my 3DS for this one. So, Greg, are you as excited as I am?
Oh, I am. I had the original one and obviously the Game Boy one. And those two games were really, really good before, up until Super Metroid just found a way to like surge past them. But I'm really happy to see like a new 2D Metroid game. And the remake part of it doesn't quite bothered me as much. I mean, it's a game that probably likely needed it. I mean, you can't really see too much because like, Samus was so big on the Game Boy screen, and this looks a lot more normal size to what you'd expect.
Right, Barry. I know you've played the fan game that got shut down. Is this as good? You think it'd be as good? Will it surpass that? And will it kind of redeem the fact that they had to shut down the fan game?
Well, this definitely explains why they shut down the fan game. The fan game was AM2R, or another Metroid 2 remake. That fan game was very good. If you could find it and you're like, oh, I can't wait till September, I want to play something now, I really want to get back into it. It's more a literal translation of Metroid Prime or Metroid 2. Pretty much room for room, enemy to enemy, just updated with like Super Metroid style graphics, very 2D. Awesome. Plays really well. Now when Nintendo saw that, they're probably like, shh, no, we've had this under, no, of all things to do, why that game? Like, everyone forgot about Metroid 2. Like, no, so this game doesn't look, it looks less like a remake than Metroid Zero Mission did for the original Metroid. Like, there's just so many new mechanics, there's new abilities. It's almost a remake in the sense that you need to kill enough Metroids to keep going on and eradicate the Metroids. Like, the story is the same,
Mm-hmm.
the levels appear completely different,
Mm-hmm.
or at least mostly different, and just the gameplay looks so smooth and everything's running really well. And they said the 3D is awesome. I haven't had a chance to do it, but they said you could download the trailer and watch it in 3D. I haven't done that. But day one buy. In fact, there's the collector's edition that comes with the soundtrack and everything, and I'm waiting for it to go up on Amazon. I think it went up on GameStop already.
And it's not only just a soundtrack of that game; it's like all Metroid, which is pretty cool.
Like 25 tracks, they said.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's a preload right there.
Yeah.
When those Amazon things come up, you better be like messaging me.
I got the link, but I'm like notified. But I will definitely post it in Slack.
Notified, yeah. They'll let you know like 3 weeks after it
Right.
actually goes live. But yeah, it's really exciting. I think they did change up some mechanics. They have these teleport things. Does that take away from the idea of that you do have to traverse these worlds and backtrack and everything? Do you think the teleporting will take away?
No.
Okay.
Especially because it's portable. People want playing. They want to play really quickly. And this allows you. You don't have to do the teleports. It's
That's true.
never mandatory. You can still play the regular way, but it's like, all right, you know what? I don't feel like traversing back this way, especially because you can now mark on your map where like, oh, there's a door here that I need to come back to. So it's less, oh my God, where was this thing again? I got to re-find this, and it's going to take me an hour to re-find it. So if it's like, well, I need to go from A to B, and there's nothing on my map that I haven't found, I could probably safely teleport to A and be okay and come back later when I'm even more powerful.
That's a good point.
I did want to throw out something really quick. I did find it was very odd that they announced a game in the Treehouse stream. I don't think they've done that in the years they've been doing that. So
yes, they have.
They have, yeah.
Yeah, Ever Oasis, I think, was shown off in the Treehouse for the first time, and a couple others. Fantasy Life was shown off in the Treehouse for the first time.
Yeah. I wonder if it was like planned that way, or if they're like, you know what, but with it being out in September, I gotta, like, they probably assumed, they just like decided to spread it out a little bit, and they're like, you know what, we're gonna keep the presentation, the spotlight thing to just Switch games, and we're gonna save the 3DS stuff maybe for the Treehouse Live on purpose. So
well, it's because they want to push their attention towards the Switch. Yeah. Because, like I said, it's coming this holiday. It's going to be like a relaunch. The 3DS this is like its swan song year. This is most likely the end, at least of continued Nintendo support. So, in addition to like Hey Pikmin, Miitopia, Ever Oasis, and now the Pokemon games, now they got Metroid. And then the other one that we'll talk about next, and they announced it here on a lesser scale because they knew once word got out that would spread. They didn't need the E3 stage. They could have announced it on Twitter, like, "Hey guys, new Metroid game for 3DS with the trailer," and it would have blown up. So
could you imagine just out of the blue, just like boom, like, oh, what?
Is this a fake Nintendo account? Like, this isn't the real Twitter, is it?
So they went ahead and played some more games on Treehouse Live, spent some time with Mario plus Rabbids. That was cool to see. And then moved on to some Fire Emblem Warriors, and then spent some time with Xenoblade Chronicles 2. All great. And then they dropped some more news on us that Barry just alluded to. Another RPG for the Mario and Luigi IP. This time they're bringing back Superstar Saga, but they've added in additional modes. They've enhanced it, and then they're also adding this Bowser's Minions game as well. That seems to be, they say, a full-fledged game alongside it that you play. So you play Superstar Saga and play the good guys, and play Bowser's Minions gonna play the bad guys. What do you guys think about that? I know you're both big fans of the whole Mario and Luigi series. So is this exciting to see it coming back and with this new thing? What do you think, Barry?
I mean, I'm very excited. Superstar Saga was a blast. It was actually like the first appearance of like the Koopalings in like the longest time, which at the time we all were like, where are the Koopalings? Bring them back. We don't want Bowser Jr. And now it seems the reverse opposite. Like, oh, right. The Koopalings are in there again. Oh, no. And they were like mindless drones in Superstar Saga. It was pretty funny. Like, they were making fun of them. But Superstar Saga is just probably one of the funniest games I've ever played. I mean, awful. I mean, it's just so great. Like, the writing is great, the characters are great, the humor is great, the gameplay is great. It was the first in the line of the Mario and Luigi, and I'm glad it's getting a second chance in the spotlight, because that was a while ago. God, that was like what, 2002, 2003. I was in college when it came out. So it was a long time ago. So it's about time to get that. Plus, they're adding stuff. I know it's another remake. I know it's like, oh, so many remakes, But I don't mind when they're doing remakes of 15-year-old games or so. It's a little different than, oh, well, this game came out last year, we're remaking it again, kind of deal. But no, it's a great game. It's definitely, you can almost see like they're doing it as I hate to say it, but like a filler title for the Swan Song year. Like, we need something quick. What can we do? We'll make this Bowser game. This game looks great. This game looks like a lot of fun strategy, but it's not a full-fledged game on its own. Like, no one's gonna buy this for $40. Let's throw in Mario and Luigi on top of that. People who haven't played it, it's beyond worth playing. People who have played it, it's worth playing again, in my opinion. I'll be picking it up. And I'll probably replay it because it's just such a good game.
Cool. Greg, are you excited about it?
Oh, definitely. I really liked that game on GBA. That was like, I really wanted to get the exclusive reward, and this was the game that I took the shot in the dark on to like say, hey, I'll get Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga now qualify to get that. I think it was like that.
Zelda Collector's Edition.
Yeah, the Zelda Collector's Edition on GameCube.
I remember
so it was
that.
like you had to like buy 2 of 3 games, and it was like Superstar Saga, Minish Cap, and I don't remember what the other one was, but like Superstar Saga is like, okay, let's try this out, and then I was so happy I did. That was such a wonderful game. I can't wait to play it again, and it'll be kind of cool. The Bowser's Minion mode kind of remind me of like that. Was it that Might and Magic game that's on like DS?
Oh
and,
yeah,
like, Steam?
what was it? Something
Might and Magic Heroes, I think.
Yeah, something like that. I know what you're talking
kind
about.
of like you have to like kind of like stack like the units. It kind of remotely reminded me. It's nothing like it, but it kind of reminded me like how you kind of just swarm like the enemies and like attack formations and stuff.
Yeah, it's cool. It's not just, you know, from their perspective. It is a different game. It's a different mechanics and everything. It's not just like they just rehashed it and, you know, swapped out the bad guys for the good guys or whatever. But it did. It's like it's a different kind of game. So it's really 2 games in one, which is pretty cool.
You know what the best part is though?
I Am Fury.
I Am Fury is awesome. Yeah. No, you know what the best part about this is? It's getting a physical release. I thought it was going to be digital, and I was crying, but no, it's physical.
It is. It's physical release along with some more amiibo coming out on October 6th. So while everybody else is, like I said, killing off Toys to Life, Nintendo is popping them out they've never even thought about them going out of style. So October 6th is when that game launches. And then they showed off some more ARMS. And then had the Splatoon 2 tournament. Did you guys watch the Splatoon 2 tournament?
I watched some of it, but I was making dinner at the time, so I was back and forth. I saw like the presenting of the trophies, but I didn't see the final match.
Yeah, I missed most of the matches. I think I had like the first 1 or 2 on in the background, and then I had to leave for other obligations. I had to leave the house. I couldn't watch it.
Yeah. So I same thing. It was kind of on the background. I was like occasionally pay attention to it, which is funny. It's just like they're showing a lot of this game. I was like, oh, it's a tournament. That's why. But yeah, it looks fun, and it was cool just to see what I think they want Splatoon 2 to become in the competitive gaming scene, and just be able to see, you know, what that was like. And congratulations to Deadbeat. Deadbeat was the winning team from the US, I believe. And so it was kind of cool. Go USA.
I think they lost the first round because I thought I remember listening to that.
They lost the first, but they wound up winning in the end.
Yeah. So come back.
Was it someone on their team
cool.
that was like said like he eats his controller or whatever?
Yeah, those intros were weird. Like, I don't know if they actually said all that or if they just like made it up. But they were weird for sure. So
he was like, "Why would I eat my controller?"
I think they've decided to like make the entire this culture and world around Splatoon so odd and weird. They're like just embracing it and just going off the deep end sometimes. So that was it. Let's talk about the amiibo really quick. There's a ton of amiibo. There was Mario Odyssey amiibo, and there was Metroid amiibo, and Fire Emblem amiibo, and so I don't even know the amiibo that are going to come along with Mario and Luigi, because you can get the Goomba and the Koopa Troopa as well. Are you guys amiiboed out, or are you going to be still collecting these? What do you think, Barry? Are you done yet, or are you still going to keep going?
I already have the 4 new Zelda amiibo pre-ordered at Best Buy. No, I'm never done.
They will all be mine, all the amiibo. Greg,
Nope.
are you done yet?
Yeah, I'm kind of sort of getting cashed out on it. It's getting really expensive, and there's way too many of them, and I'm starting to feel kind of tapped out on it.
Yeah,
I'm annoyed at Amazon, but
I think the Fire Emblem ones will pick up, and then I was kind of looking into the Metroid ones, and then I think I might kind of pass on the new Zelda ones because those just like are incredibly hard to find, and just frustrated trying to find them.
That's true.
I look at it as statues. I mean, like if you think about it, some of these figures you may never see actual figures for, and some that do get figures, you know, like first 4 figures or some of these, Square Enix's type figures, the figure arts, like they're really expensive. And it's like, oh crap, here it is, $10, with the Best Buy or $12 or whatever. You're getting a figure which looks awesome because I think they all look great. But then you definitely get the functionality in games as well. It's like the Zelda ones were no brainer. I mean, I love Zelda. I would get those even if those were statues at that price range. Like, we didn't talk about it, but Ubisoft, at their press conference when they announced Mario and Rabbids, they actually said, like, oh, get exclusive figures at Ubi's store. I was like, oh, those are cool. I'll go get those. They're not amiibo, but I'll go get them to put them along. They wanted $40 a piece, and they're 6 inches. Like, $40. Like, no. And then there's the collector's edition, which we also didn't talk about. That's a GameStop exclusive, which is the game with the Mario Rabbid. And guess what? The game is $60. The Rabbid's $40. The collector's edition comes with the soundtrack. What's the price? $100. Like, it's just ridiculous. So at $12, I could justify it. At $40, I'm done. Like, the second they say, "Hey, new amiibo, $40," unless it's something I absolutely have to have, that's when I'll probably draw the line. But they're not going to do
Yoshi. Mega Yoshi is 40.
Was he 40?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? He was, but I had Toys R Us, like, our rewards coupons, so I wound up getting him for like $10. So I got lucky on that one because it was a Toys R Us exclusive.
Yeah, I think I'm excited about. I think the new ones look really cool, and I think that's the big thing that keeps me possibly going to go back for more. I don't know if I'll get all of them, but especially the Mario Odyssey ones look really cool. The Metroid ones look really sweet as well, and I think just the idea of having a Goomba and a Koopa Troopa amiibo is pretty sweet as well. So I'll probably end up getting the majority of these, but I would like them to at least slow it down a little bit so that my bank account wouldn't be hurting as much.
I was talking to my wife about this.
It adds up.
Yeah, I was talking to my wife about this. The Mario Odyssey, those are going to sell like crazy because they could be used as wedding cake toppers.
Totally.
Sure.
Totally. Yeah. Did you guys remember? I don't know I can't remember if we were doing the if you guys were on the podcast at the time, but my wife and I had Mies as our wedding cake toppers. It was like a guy like custom made them, which is pretty cool. We like sent him our pictures and he like made the Mies, and that was our wedding cake toppers. But yeah, if we had those, or like if those were around at that time, we would probably Mario and Peach on the top for sure.
Yeah, they're gonna
or Bowser. I don't know. I guess depends on what she thinks of me at the time.
Like I like the fact that they're getting creative. Like the Guardian had the movable legs. The Metroid is squishy. Yarn Yoshis and Yarn Poochie are made of yarn. Like, I like the fact that they are trying to go above and beyond. They don't have to. They could have made the Metroid plastic and it would have sold. They could have made the Guardian's legs static. It would have sold. They could have made the Yarn Yoshi out of plastic that looked like yarn and it would have sold. The fact that they didn't, it's quality, and they are producing quality figures. Like the first few waves had their flaws, but I think over time they've gotten better. They never re-released Link without that piss yellow stream, which would have been nice, but I'm happy with each of these sets. There's a low number. There's a lot of amiibo, but each set is a little bit. It's not like the Smash set where there's 50 something amiibo. It's, hey, Mario Odyssey is 3 amiibo. That's not bad. Metroid is 2. Fire Emblem is 2. Mario and Luigi is 2. It's like, okay. And Zelda's 4. I mean, there's a lot when you add them together, but the fact that they're spaced out, I think that's acceptable.
Yeah.
No more 50 plus sets.
Yeah. I think
the Zelda one's already getting kind of big. That's already over 10 because it has like the 30-bit Link and the Ocarina Link and
overall,
Toon Linker.
You're talking the 30th anniversary Zelda set, and
those are all Breath of the Wild set.
They aren't. Nope. They work with Breath of the Wild, but the 30th anniversary Zelda set is not the same as the Breath of the Wild set. They're counted as 2 different sets of Zelda amiibo.
Yeah. But I think it's cool that we are seeing third-party support in there as well. That we're, they're bringing even Skyrim, being able to use an amiibo in Skyrim is just like crazy. You're like, really? That's happening? Yeah, it's happening. And so I feel like that's what kind of gives amiibo a little more legs beyond some of the other Toys to Life stuff, is because it's being integrated in different ways, which is pretty cool. I think it helps me to feel better about this investment that I have, because it's being utilized in a bunch of different, creative ways.
And you're talking about like, oh, enough is enough, you know, there's milking kind of deal. No ARMS amiibo. When Splatoon launched, there were Splatoon amiibo at launch. There are no ARMS amiibo, no announcement, no even hint at it. I don't even think it's on the box, the amiibo logo. So if they were really milking it, they would have found some way to shoehorn in ARMS amiibo. It would have worked. They didn't. So to me, it seems like they're not totally shoehorning it in yet, or they're not totally milking it, because they would have done it for sure. Pokemon Tournament as well. There's no Pokemon amiibo. I don't even know if it. Well, the Shadow Mewtwo card, but that came with the game, so it wasn't really anything.
Yeah, that's true. So, hey, if you're in the chat, go ahead and throw in your last minute thoughts about E3 so far. We'll get to your comments right after we revisit really quick our predictions. I want you. Hopefully, you have your prediction list handy, or you remember what you went through. Let's just go through real quick and kind of rate ourselves and see how we did on this. I'll just start us off, and I'll start with my predictions. I said the Virtual Console would be revealed. We heard nothing about the Virtual Console, nothing at all, which I'm pretty upset about. But that'd be maybe on another podcast. Retro's next project to be revealed. I failed on that one too. Details on the online beta. Well, they didn't even mention online, except for a couple games have online. Smash Brothers port also failed on that one, and new unexpected third-party game. I'm gonna give myself that one with Rocket League. Wasn't really what I was hoping for. I was going for something really out of left field, but I'm going to take it because all the other 4 that I had down failed. So I'm going to take that one. So it was 1 out of 5. Greg, how'd you do?
Well, I was revisiting mine, and it looks like I was giving myself like a 1.5. The first one I talked about was the Breath of the Wild DLC. I said it would release today. Sadly, it's not for like a little over 2 weeks, so that's why I gave myself about a half point. They went over the coverage of the pack and gave a release date. Second one, I also said Smash Brothers, no go. Mario Maker 2, no go. F-Zero, no go. And then my pride and joy, Metroid Prime 4, boom, right there. I know I didn't say it in the podcast, but I have it in my notes that I had a slash saying 2D Metroid, but I'm not giving myself any points for that because I didn't discuss that on the podcast. So,
did you expect both of them, or were you saying
no, definitely
not?
I think I was gonna do it one or the other, but then I decided, like, you know what, that's probably some stupid offshore rumor thing that doesn't matter. So I'll just stick with Prime 4 to keep it like I was trying to be like direct and straight and everything, like the straight to the point, not like, oh, they'll announce a new game. Yeah, all right, I got it.
Nice. Barry, how'd you do?
I gave myself 2.5, but it wasn't the full 2.5 kind of. So first I said they would show off at least one long dormant IP, one of them being Metroid I listed, so I gave myself a full credit there. 2, I said Retro Studios would unveil what they're doing. Nope, X on there. 3, I said Nintendo would show off at least one more Wii U Deluxe port. Pokemon Tournament was one of the ones I listed. Even though Pokemon Tournament was first revealed at the Pokemon Direct, which happened after our podcast, it was still shown during the spotlight, so I gave myself half a credit there because it was shown off. Fourth one I did, they would announce new third-party partner projects, exclusive titles, possibly something with Sega. They didn't, but they did the Rocket League, but I'm not going to go there. And 5, I did that they would show off one unannounced title for the 3DS, and sure enough, we got Metroid, which was unannounced. So 2.5.
So that's what I was saying. That's like a straight, like an unannounced Switch game. Oh boy, look at that!
Well, no, I knew unannounced Switch game. I'm saying 3DS.
I know, but I was saying it's just about as obvious. They're saying the 3DS has plenty of life in it. We have like no knowledge of what's coming to the 3DS besides maybe Fire Emblem Warriors, perhaps.
They only, but they only showed off 2 3DS games the entire time, so it's not like they had a whole list of them. They almost didn't even make it in.
Well, there is 2 more days.
That is true. They could still have some in there. Yeah, if you have been checking out, not checking out our coverage for E3, make sure you subscribe to us. Make sure you follow us on Twitter, especially because we are like live tweeting some stuff, live tweeting our thoughts and everything. So make sure you follow us on Twitter. And like we said, make sure you subscribe to us here on YouTube and in all the podcatchers and stuff to get all the audio versions. And leave a positive review. That'd be awesome. Make sure you hit the bell on YouTube so you can be alerted when we post new videos, like our game chats, our industry talks. We got some of those coming up soon. And of course, our podcast and all the gameplay videos that we post. We'd be grateful that you would tune in and share it with other people and just join in the conversation. Speaking of which, if you've not yet thrown your comments and your thoughts about E3, we would love to hear what you thought about E3, and maybe you had some predictions of your own from our last podcast. And you're like, maybe I'll jump in this too, and I'll have some predictions. Let us know how you did and whether you did better than us. I got 1 out of 5. Greg got 1.5 out of 5. Barry did the best, kind of 2.5 out of 5, but maybe you did better. Maybe you predicted a whole lot better. Let us know in the comments, and we'll join in the conversation down there. Do either of you guys have any parting thoughts for E3 this year?
It was awesome. It was so many games, not enough time.
My brain's still trying to process it.
As soon as they find a way to make the year longer and not adding in more work days, then that'd be awesome.
My only final thought is we had such a good E3 this year. Like last year, we were robbed of an E3. Zelda may have won Best of Show. Some people say Nintendo won even with just Zelda, but we were really robbed of that experience, of that Christmas morning, open up the package, what's inside. Because there were a few little announcements thrown into the treehouse, but we didn't have that conference, so to speak, that spotlight. What's going to happen next year? We know Yoshi, we know Kirby, we know possibly Metroid Prime 4 being shown off. But how could they top this year? What could they possibly do next year that will make us go, wow, and we thought 2017 was good. Look at 2018 without walking away disappointed. Like, can it top it?
Sure. Pokemon as well. Although, who knows? Who knows what we're going to do? And we still don't know that whole full lineup. We've talked about maybe the Smash Brothers is eventually going to be rolled out with the full unveiling of the online stuff. And who knows? Who knows what 2018 will hold? But 2017 is looking pretty good, and I'd say so far 2018 is looking really good too. So it's going to be a good next couple years for the Switch for sure.
I really believe that at the end of this, we were going to see like that cross for Smash Brothers. Like I expected like one quick at the end, right before it goes to black. After watching the whole thing, seeing what the lineup is, they didn't need Smash. And I think next year they'll show it, but I don't think it's actually going to come out until 2019 because something tells me they're going to want to push it out and make it even better.
Maybe so.
There's always the next actual Mario Kart 9 too, so I can always do something like that, and that would kind of be a show stealer too. Obviously it probably won't be shown next year with Deluxe still being fresh in everyone's mind, but
yeah, they'll probably be pushing Deluxe still.
Yeah.
Diddy Kong Racing, wasn't there a rumor that was supposed to be coming back?
DLC. So, like we said, thanks so much for tuning in to this NintendoFuse podcast. We went a little bit over an hour, but thanks for sticking with us, and thanks for leaving some comments, sharing it, subscribing, and all that sort of thing. We will be back very soon with some game chats, industry talks, and another podcast next month. But in the meantime, join us in the comments, and be sure to check out NintendoFuse.com for a whole lot more Nintendo news, reviews, playthroughs, and all that other stuff that rhymes with ooze. So, Greg, Barry, thanks for joining me. Hassan's going to be back next month, so you don't have to deal with me hosting anymore. Hassan's going to be back. But for now, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you later.